Hey guys, the Game Chaplain here and the Cheap PC Enthusiast. I've been just kind of scouring YouTube, listening to different hardware reviews, and all kinds of interesting things in both the computer and the console world are out now, of course, the Nintendo Switch and the AMD Ryzen and all kinds of other things like that. Well, there's a discussion about things that often goes sour that I think needs a little bit additional information so people can not only feel better about it, but maybe make some more informed decisions. One particular area that I have long been involved with is cheap computers. Now, I don't mean bottom barrel Walmart computers, but I mean computers that are definitely focused on value. And can yet do everything at least to a reasonable degree. These computers have always existed. I have been in the computer business since I was very young, working with my father, and then later on ran my own store for 13 years and have done both software development and hardware work. So I speak from experience here in the real world. So the one thing I want to focus on today is the low-end video card market. Now, Linus Tech Tips and many other websites rightly say that low-end video cards offer a poor price-to-performance ratio, that other cards can provide additional ports for less money if you're just trying to go for more ports, that used cards provide a better value, again with that price-performance thing in mind. And keep in mind, for myself and for friends, sure, there are times I have utilized all of those. But there are some scenarios that were not discussed, at least to my knowledge, with regards to how new low-end video cards could still be the right choice. Just to give you an idea, for myself, I have just purchased and installed an ATI Radeon R7 240, the very card that twice now I have seen Linus Tech Tips bash. Again, those are great guys. They know what they're talking about. In terms of especially high-end hardware, they know way more than I do. But those of us on the low end of the chain in terms of computer hardware, I think I've got a few things to offer that might help people understand why these cards exist. To give you an idea, first of all, my present desktop computer is not this big mid-tower monstrosity. It's a low-profile mini ATX design. And the reason why I have this case is because my desk area, what I have in my home, is only 60 square feet. So space is at a premium. A big desktop computer is not going to fit well. And also it's got to be quiet because it's right off the dining room. So I can't have a really noisy computer. I have a low wattage power supply because of the small case. I use a low wattage quad-core Intel CPU to keep power and heat down. I use low voltage memory, and I use only an SSD. I don't have any spinning disk in my computer. So what I was looking for when it came to a video card was a low profile, low noise, multiple output, low wattage card to fit my low profile, low wattage desktop computer. Linus and others would be correct in that a GeForce 210, and I own one of those too, by the way, would fit all those bills well for less money, but I also want to game at least a little bit. And a GeForce 210 can't do that at all. It only has 16 CUDA cores. It's really useless for any kind of gaming at all. Now, I thought that was bad, but another computer I own, which is a Compaq SR5123WM, has an integrated NVIDIA 6150 SE Enforce 430 chipset. It has 2 CUDA cores. 2. It doesn't even meet Minecraft's minimum requirements, whereas the GeForce 210 can do that, so I guess it can game on the extreme low end. But I wanted to be able to play somewhat modern games somewhat well. But that's not a high priority of mine. I don't game a lot, but when I do, I want to be able to at least play the game. And another thing to consider is that an R7 240 has over 300 streaming processors. If you compare that with the new 2017 Nintendo Switch, which I understand is just basically an overpowered tablet, but it has a similar graphics potential as that, and that's a 2017 gaming console. So that tells me the R7 240 can game well enough. If the Switch can run Unreal 4 engine and can run Unity and other gaming software, then so can the R7 240. Also, when I was selling computers, entry-level cards like this often let me build a single desktop for mom and dad that also let the kids game at least a little bit. An R7 240 is significantly better than the integrated graphics of any CPU in a similar price range. I understand there are some AMD APUs that are more powerful than even the R7 240, but not by much. They cost more, and I have ran into more than once in selling these processors and putting them in real-world environments. The graphics cards start to have problems, and because they're not separate from the CPU, you can't fix them. So you end up putting in an entry-level card in anyway. So that kind of scared me away from APUs under regular gaming use in a retail environment. But that's just anecdotal evidence, and I understand that. Another thing is that the R7 240, because it uses so little power, 30 watt TDP, and I think the power draw is really even less than that, it'll work with virtually any power supply, even in the cheapest of off-the-shelf desktops. And again, that was something I was rigorously servicing and upgrading for many years. So this is a niche application where the R7 240 really does fit the bill just fine, and it's a good value for those scenarios. The used cards like the 6670 or the R9 290 that Linus and others bring up, those are much better cards for the money in terms of performance, but they don't fit the other scenarios that are deal breakers for me. I need a card that's low wattage, that's low profile, that's low noise, and those cards don't have that option. Also, some of the cards that were again often purported by various websites that are better values, they can sometimes again be really hot, they can be really noisy, they can use a huge amount of heat or a huge amount of energy and put out a lot of heat. They can also be physically huge, so you need a very large case to support them. And another thing about buying a used high-performance card is oftentimes they've already been used pretty hard. It's kind of like buying a sports car used. They've often been driven pretty hard. And so you may experience issues with what you thought was a good value and turns out not to be. Or if you buy a used card for $30 but the cooler's bad and it costs you $30 to replace the cooler, you just would have been better off buying a new card, which again happens often. Video card fans especially, either on the very high end or the low end, tend to either die due to use or die due to poor quality. Another thing is that there's no warranty with a used card, and there is a warranty with a new card. And again, somebody who sold these things in retail, about 1 out of 100 or so, just kind of guessing there, you'll want that warranty, and that's nice to have. Video cards go through a lot of stress in a computer, especially if they're used for gaming or high-end productivity applications. So in summary, my R7 240 will hum along trouble-free. It will play games at 720p just fine. It'll hardly make any noise. It'll suck very little power from the wall, and it'll give me the connectivity options I need without being completely useless in the gaming department. For this reason, if you have a similar scenario, pick one up, enjoy it, and remember, you don't have to agree with anybody else. They don't have to agree with you. And to the guys at Linus and Linus Tech Tips and TechWiki and all that, you guys are great. I totally respect your opinion. In many ways you're correct, but I just wanted to provide this one scenario, and there's a couple others I mentioned, where these cards are appropriate, and they are good value in those situations. I appreciate the respectfulness that is often had in the tech world, and I hope that everybody can stay civil and be civil and continue to exchange ideas. That's one of the beautiful things about the internet. Alright guys, it's been great. Have a good one.